like we got tired of Alex Jackson, like we got tired of Ben Rortvedt, like we've been tired of Taylor Walls offensively. We are getting drained by Chris Morel doing the same thing in the same manner and not giving us the expectations we were promised, essentially.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays, from game analysis to player interviews. We've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
We're here to cover every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
So grab your favorite Rays gear and settle in as we discuss the Tampa Bay Rays demoting Chandler Simpson, believe it or not, over the weekend. The Rays taking 2 of 4, so splitting the series against the Houston Astros, which is more or less what we asked for and predicted. And we have a blow up by a certain persona non grata that is Taylor Walls. We have a lot to discuss on this episode, Ulises.
Yes, we do. But let's start with Chandler Simpson getting demoted, because that got the interwebs heated, man.
Yes,
real heated. I think we should frame this in a short-term, long-term discussion. We could also frame it as it's not 1-for-1. And I think that's where I want to start, is it's not 1-for-1. I know personally, I want Jake Mangum on this team. Yes. I think he brings a lot to the table. I think because you need a Jake Mangum on the roster, that doesn't mean that you can't have Chandler Simpson on the team either. I feel like that's a lot of the conversation that's happening in Rays fandom. Like, well, you have to get Jake Mangum. Sure. Get Mangum in there. But there's another character that doesn't really have a spot and is not really being utilized and only started 2 out of 4 games. And it seems like his time with the Rays is dwindling and they're not ready to pull the trigger off him, Kevin.
Yeah. And that would be Chris Morel. And I think there's some of that. Well, there's a couple things at play. One is, objectively speaking, Chris Morel has more power than Jake Mangum. He definitely has more power than Chandler Simpson. Has he elevated or utilized that power as advertised this year or last year? No, he has not. Among the other struggles that he has dealt with, striking out, mainly the called third strikes, which is just crazy. He just doesn't lift the bat off his shoulder when there's a pitch down the middle with 2 strikes. And then, rolling over balls and then some misplays defensively. And he's just not the player that we bargained for in the Isaac Paredes trade, which is a shame. So I think there's some of the Rays still want to keep the leash relatively long on him to see, hey, is he going to figure it out? There's got to be a point. I mean, we gave up a lot to get this guy. He's got to get it at some point, and so far he has not proved that. The other thing too is Chandler Simpson, obviously, and as most people know, he has options. So that allowed the Rays to make this maneuver without impacting the roster as much, whereas Chris Morel doesn't have options. So if they put him through waivers, he's likely to get picked up, and they lose a player that they feel like maybe down the line could potentially help them. So, and I guess the question is, so right now we have Jake Mangum, we have Josh Lowe, we have Cam Meisner, we have Chris Morel, we have Jose Caballero manning some outfield. Is there enough opportunity for Chandler Simpson, even say it was a 1-for-1 of, all right, we're done with Chris Morel, we're going to keep Chandler Simpson up. Is Chandler Simpson still going to get as many opportunities as he needs to flourish as a major leaguer, or would he be riding the bench half the week?
Right. And that's the biggest issue, right? It's are you going to stun this guy's development, which, he needs, because we saw him play the outfield. It's not great. It's okay. It's maybe a little bit below average. But
and he's a rookie. He's played, a couple dozen games. That's it.
not only that, Kev, but like he took on outfield role very late in his development as a baseball player. Like it's not like he was playing outfield all his life, and this is the finished product. Not at all. He has just picked it up. So I understand the fact that he needs to develop. The issue is how long. If you're not ready to pull the trigger on Morel, when is that time going to be? Because how much more? I mean, this guy.
Trade deadline, maybe you give him till the trade deadline to figure it out. Maybe he gets hot for a couple weeks or a month.
Yeah, I mean, you have
pull
to
the trigger there,
and maybe that's a way to maybe recoup some of the value. Is hopefully he gets going, and then boom, you can trade him that way, maybe. But instead of just getting nothing, but really at this point in time, it feels like there's a conversation there in the front office that somebody said, and it could have been Neander, it could have been multiple people, where the conclusion of that conversation was, we need to give Chris Morel more time.
Yeah. Give him more time and see if he picks it up. If he picks it up to the point where, wow, he's had a good couple of weeks, and you have opposing team scouts coming in and said, hey, he made an adjustment and he's hitting the ball for power and he's figured something out. And then you can perhaps deal him and get a prospect or reliever or something to that effect, and then wash your hands of Chris Morel. But I think we're starting to, like we got tired of Alex Jackson, like we got tired of Ben Rortvedt, like we've been tired of Taylor Walls offensively. We are getting drained by Chris Morel doing the same thing in the same manner and not giving us the expectations we were promised, essentially, of, hey, he's a 25 to 30 homer guy. He's going to fit right in. And we have not seen that to this point.
No, we haven't. And I think maybe the conversation was maybe closer than what we think. We're thinking just because Chandler Simpson got demoted, it was an easy decision for them. Maybe it wasn't, because I do want to read a quote from Eric Neander on Morel. He said, the more that we win and stay in this thing, the more that decision will be made on what's best for the team in the present. With Morel, the work ethic and attitude has been exceptional, and his mentorship with Caminero has been a game changer, and that's not very visible, right? Mm-hmm. But you've got to produce on the field. The last 10 months or so, we've expected more out of him than what we've gotten. We've got to start seeing more, or you start walking down this path of what's next, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. So basically a little bit of a longer lead time. And look, for Chandler Simpson, he more or less has to take this as a positive of saying there are some things he can work on. Chandler Simpson is not an all-star player without flaws. There are issues with the on-base percentage. There are issues with the defense, but I feel like the pros outweigh the cons when it's all added up. But there's certainly an opportunity for him to work with the roving coaches in AAA and get right on some of the nuances of the game, because the speed's always going to be there. The contact ability is going to be there. The lack of strikeouts is going to be there. But I think it's about, how can he up his on-base percentage and how can he up his defense? He does that. If he does those two things, there's no way you can keep him off a major league roster.
It's just by being, you can't keep him. And I do want to say something. Like, I know that the Rays, split the series in Houston, and we're going to talk about that in the second segment. But just want to make sure that just as we feel as fans excited when Chandler Simpson comes up to bat on either the stadium or watching on our TV, the players do too. Yes. That energy is very alive in the dugout when he's there, because they want to see that. Chandler Simpson is unreal, even for professional athletes that are in the same clubhouse. They know that he is unreal. And this is a guy that is a game changer. The other day we saw him, at least I think his last game with the team on Friday, or Thursday rather, don't remember, call me out. He gets on base at first base, steals second, steals third, wrong throw, comes home, scores a run. Like, that is, I don't think we should care about the OPS with Chandler Simpson, because I don't care if it's 670, because who cares if he's not getting doubles and home runs? I care that if he's on first, he's already on third.
Yeah.
That's what Chandler Simpson can do. And Morel, you could say the same thing. Well, he can just, with one swing of the bat, he can give you a run. Yeah, but it hasn't happened, has it?
Yeah, we've seen 3 of those.
Literally.
That's basically it. Which, again, Chandler Simpson, his doubles and triples are off the accounting ledger because those doubles and triples are manufactured through stolen bases. Where, he goes to third and there's a throwing error and he scores home. You have, not to call somebody out in particular, but Taylor Walls gets thrown out at third. So we also have to, look a little bit deeper than just the OPS. Now, I will pose a question to you, and we also have some comments from the listeners out there, as well as a poll question regarding Chandler Simpson, because it did shock the Rays baseball world, if you will, when it was discovered that he was being demoted. But first, Ulises, we do have to tell the audience something important, and that is next on the Locked On Rays podcast, your team every day. All right, it's that time. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Go ahead, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios, it is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. What are you waiting for? Go ahead, get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. What's really cool about this too is no shells. So it makes that grab and go so much easier. Whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios, it is the snack that works as hard as you do. So go ahead, visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. So good. I'll repeat it again. wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, listen, before we get to the poll question and some listener comments on the Chandler Simpson decision, let me ask you this, because I don't know if we quite clarified this. If it came down to Chandler Simpson or Jake Mangum on the roster today, who would you rather have on the roster?
Jake Mangum, because I do want Chandler to work on stuff. But The thing is, again, like we said earlier, I don't think that was the only decision that they could do. They could have pivoted to somebody else.
Yeah. And Jake Mangum, for his credit, did have, by all accounts, an outstanding weekend. Some of the catches that he made in center field, not to say Chandler Simpson will never be able to make some of those plays, but maybe he dives and misplays it and the ball goes past him. And before you know it, you have an inside the park home run or a triple or something like that. And he also hit a ball out of the ballpark, if I recall.
First career home run. Career home run. His parents were there. That was awesome to see. So again, we have always been fans of Jake Mangum since the beginning of his MLB debut. And
him being a switch hitter adds value.
Yes.
Look, I would have to dive deeper into the splits, but you would think that would create some benefit against lefties, which the Rays have struggled mightily. Although then again, Taylor Walls is a switch hitter, but I think Jake Mangum is a more refined hitter than Taylor Walls. It's suffice to say that he has not been what we bargained for. And I think the fan base and their comments have reflected that. Eric Neander's comments have reflected that. Also tied into, not to beat down a dead horse, but again, you go and look and see what Isaac Paredes is doing for Houston, and the fact that we had that exact player in a Rays uniform and you let that go for differing reasons or, whatever the reasoning was. And this is the position that we're in.
Can we say it? Because I know we've said it, like he's a super 2. He was going to get more expensive rather quickly, and it had to be said. And it has to be, I mean, it's right. And I
just
know
get a better hitter in return. You can find relievers anywhere.
Right. And I know, Ty Johnson in triple and the minors. Okay, fine. But like, we have been through this song. And does everybody remember Vidal Brujan? Does everybody remember Taylor Walls in the minors? How they were just shredding it and they were great. I mean, guys, we can't just be like the next. Oh, Ty Johnson, though. We can't call the Paredes trade a miss because of Ty Johnson. Yeah. Let him get up here. Let him be successful for a while. And then we can say, oh, actually, but that right now, that trade is bad.
Yeah. No, go back and look at, year over year, the Rays' top 30 prospects, according to MLB, Baseball America, Fangraphs, look at the top 100 prospects in baseball. How many of them truly make a major legitimate impact? And conversely, look at a guy like, Cam Meisner, who I know is struggling offensively right now, or was, and has to get the numbers back up, or Jake Mangum or even, nobody was really talking about Jake Mangum of, he's going to be this great player, but he might pigeonhole a solid role for himself going forward. But let's go ahead and get to that poll question we put out there on the Twitter X machine. Did the Rays make a smart decision in demoting Chandler Simpson to AAA? 17% say yes, 61% say no, and 22% are unsure of the move at this point. And then Ulises, do you have some comments that you want to highlight or underscore from the Rays fandom that is?
Of course, Ben at Ben Anderson 346831 says, very, very confused, but not surprised it was Chandler. Need to find a way to keep Cam, Mangum, and Chandler on the team at the same time. Our buddy Samuel Bayless says defense over offense every time. Jake Stokes says, is Minor out of options? He is not. Cooper George says, terrible, to be honest. Our buddy R. Hill says, wow, that is shocking. Meisner has been playing great defense in center, but I really feel like Simpson has been a major spark for this offense. Just look at last night. Simpson scores without a hit all by himself. You can't replace that. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's what he brings to the table might not be on the numbers. You might not just see that on the scored card, but Chandler Simpson just – and I think we are able to say this because we have been to the stadium before and after Chandler Simpson has arrived. Every time that Chandler's up, there's like a vibe around like, hey, he's up.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. Like people know him, people like it. It was an odd vibe. And
we're seeing Chandler Simpson jerseys already. And exactly. I would like to know what the Rays record is with him since he was called up to basically pre-Simpson and during Simpson, trying to make a biblical joke out of that. But what the offensive numbers are, and importantly, what the win-loss record is. Because, I mean, the Rays were on a run and still are on a run with the win-loss ratio and so forth. But, yeah, it's, again, I think he just has to take it as a positive, work on what he needs to, and then get so good to the point that you
can't be told no.
And, again, anecdotally, him being on first or being on second or being on third, it adds that much more stress to the pitching staff, the opposing pitching staff in the opposing defense. Like maybe the pitcher that's on the mound thinks differently about what type of breaking ball he's going to throw.
Kevin, let me ask you this. Do you think pitchers around the league are more scared of Christopher Morel or Chandler Simpson?
Chandler Simpson, 100%.
I have no doubt. I would be very aghast if more than 5% of pitchers said, Christopher Morel. I'm more scared of Christopher Morel today in 2025 than in Chandler Simpson. No way.
Furthermore, I think they're more intimidated of Chandler Simpson, not only on the base paths, but at the plate as well. Because they just know they just got to get Morel to 2 strikes, and then he's down for the count after that.
With Chandler, the thing about Chandler that's so scary is that even if he hits a ground ball to the pitcher, he can still get on base. That's scary for them. So even if they get a dribbler in their own glove, he might beat you to first. That's why he's scarier than Christopher Morel. Christopher Morel is a one-trick pony. Okay, Let's see if that home run is going to happen. But the thing is, in 2025, it hasn't happened.
Yeah, he's a one-trick pony, and we haven't seen that trick yet in 10 months or whatever it's been. So, all right, so getting a little bit to the action from the weekend, 4-game series in Houston, I think my math is correct that the Rays scored a total of 30 runs over the course of the 4 games while allowing just 9, yet somehow they come away with just a split. So it was definitely Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation where on Thursday, the Rays win 13-3. Friday, they lose 1-2. Saturday, they win 16-3. They upped what they did on Thursday. And then Sunday, they get shut out in a pitcher's duel 1-0 as Taj Bradley and Hunter Brown went toe to toe. And then probably what overshadowed the entire series overall was the Taylor Walls ejection after getting into it with the home plate umpire, which in my opinion was not a very good look. Bad look.
It was tough because it wasn't an egregious strike. It was a ball. It was not a strike.
The automatic ball strike system would have called that a ball, I'm sure.
Exactly. Now, do you think he actually was tapping? Because I think he just does that as a nervous tick coming into the box where he just taps it. I don't think he did that on purpose. Do you think he did?
It's hard to say because honestly, I would have to go back, and I don't have time to do this, and see how does Taylor Walls prepare for every pitch, stepping out of the box and stepping into the box, because he tapped his helmet thoroughly and hard a couple times. Then he did kind of like a tap, 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 and then seemed to look at the umpire, where I can understand where the umpire took that as a slight. And, Taylor Walls did make a comment to the umpire as well. And then I think the Rays bench was also barking at the umpire. So I'm perhaps don't agree with the ejection in totality, but the way that Taylor Walls, his temper flared and he went after the umpire was totally uncalled for. Like, but to break free of Rodney Linares and or Kevin Cash to try to intimidate and, I don't know, tackle, throw a punch, who knows? I mean, he was as heated as could be. I can't remember the last, or maybe he was just going to go face to face with him, but and I get it. Like, Taylor Walls has to be frustrated because we don't talk about his amazing defense.
No.
Game-saving defense. We're talking about his offense. The narrative with Taylor Walls is what he does or doesn't do at the plate. And honestly, like, again, yeah, you look at the batting average and you look at the OPS and you say, well, Taylor Walls, can't discern a strike from a ball, but he actually can if you look.
He actually can.
And taking pitches and all that. So if he sees it as a ball, it's probably a ball in many cases.
I gotta disagree because I feel like if you're Taylor Walls and the narrative is you cannot hit, you can't hit, why is this guy on the roster, and nothing about your incredible defense, and you're at the plate, it's the ninth inning, right? Yeah, you're losing by one run. You can be the win. You can be at least a tying run, right? Or was there somebody on base? I forget. You guys can check me on that. Regardless, it's a 1-0 game, and your skill at the plate is your good eye. You take good walks, and then that's taken away from you. Imagine how much impotence is inside of this man.
True.
I mean, he just wanted to storm at the umpire, like and you saw that. So it's not that I understand it, and I'm not going to judge him for the flare up, really, because I understand where he's coming from, and I feel like umpires are unfortunately way too self-important, and although that job is hard and very difficult, they don't get questioned after games. Maybe just like a pool reporter goes there. Right. Sometimes it's only the crew chief that talks for the whole a crew of umpires. Like, it's the fact that they can't get fined or miss games because of bad calls.
Like tenured college educators where they can't be touched, basically.
They're untouchable. So I feel like, you know what? Go for it, Taylor.
Yeah.
Why not?
No, I get that. And I would assume there's got to be some protocol in place where the Rays can complain or send a memo to the league of, hey, we had this incident, which I'm sure the league is very very aware of what happened and what concluded with this situation. And you hope that something like this doesn't happen again. But I think the easiest solution, the cleanest solution is within the next couple of years, implement that ABS system. And then, hey, then Taylor Walls can legitimately tap on his helmet, get the call, and get it corrected if needed. I'll just read a segment here from an article I read Taylor Walls, who was in his 5th season in the big leagues, lost his cool after being ejected, having to be restrained by bench coach Rodney Linares, although Walls eventually broke free of Linares and charged at Lentz before being held back again. Quote from Taylor Walls: "I don't really remember any time that I've been thrown out of a game since I've played baseball. I kind of want to apologize to him for it if that's what he thought that I did, but at the same time, like, after missing a call, you have to kind of understand the situation. You can't just toss me for something that you're not totally sure that I was doing it intentionally to disrespect." So maybe in that case, you give Taylor Walls a second chance. Okay, you made a comment. He tapped on his helmet 10 times. All right, if he does it again, or if he makes another comment, you get 2 strikes in this situation.
In that case, like, hey, I see you tapping your helmet. Don't disrespect me like that, all right? That's the last I'm gonna warn you.
Yeah.
If he then mouths off, okay, then boom, you warned him. We're fine. But like to not even give him that chance. Yeah, I don't like it. But overall, hey, now the Rangers are coming. Now the Miami Marlins are coming. You've got 6 games at home where if you win both series, you can get away from that 500 hover situation you've got going on for the last 2 months. Let's get through it. Rangers are not coming through very well lately, and the Miami Marlins are the Marlins of 2025. So you should be able to take both series.
Beyond Taylor Walls and the Rays bats going hot, then cold, then hot, then cold over this series, what stood out to you most, or what was your biggest takeaway in 30 seconds, 45 seconds or less?
Junior Caminero is being the Junior Caminero that we all thought he could be.
Yes.
He's hitting that ceiling. I mean, going 4 for 5 with 4 extra base hits, 2 home runs. Like, that was a
6 RBI in a game. Like,
pretty crazy Saturday for him. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know it's because of the bat speed and the hard hit percentage and the pure strength of the 21 or 22-year-old, whatever he is presently, but how he is able to hammer some of these balls, like a breaking ball at your ankles essentially, and you're still able to deposit it out of the ballpark, is just
going
very
oppo like
impressive.
that too.
Going oppo as well. I mean, just a number of plays, plus the doubles too. I mean, the extra bases, the doubles, the extra base hits can't be discounted from the home run, but he now has 13 homers and 13 doubles. The homers definitely lead the team. I'd have to go back and check on the doubles, but he is definitely making a case. But as I've said, and I will continue to say, the homers are great, the doubles are great, but he is young, and we're still going to see some growing pains, just like with Chandler Simpson, because Junior has the grounded to double play issue. He has 16 right now. He has the on-base percentage issue, which I imagine in time some of that can be resolved. I don't know if the grounded to double plays will ever be resolved because he hits the ball so hard. It's going to be assuming that the defender gets a glove on it, which maybe he'll hit it so hard that it'll get past him. I think. Yeah.
Quick question for you. Maybe we can close the episode with this. Will he have more home runs than grounded into double plays this season?
No, he'll have more GIDPs, and he's got some more to do with the home runs. Again, it's 16 to 13. So unless there's something with his approach where he can lift the ball a little bit higher sometimes, perhaps. But I'm a little bit surprised he has this many because, like I was saying, he hits the ball so hard. I would imagine it would get past a lot of gloves and past the diving Jeter, so to speak. And we wouldn't have to deal with that as much. But I think that could be a perennial issue, which with Chandler Simpson, you don't have to worry about grounding into double plays unless he's at first going to second. But if he's running to first, you're not really going to have to deal with that. So
yeah, no, it's going to be a fun weekend, and it's going to be a fun week here at Locked On Rays, because we've got a special guest for you guys for tomorrow's episode.
Yes, we do.
It'll be a great episode. It's a great interview, so I hope you guys enjoy it.
Right. And let me just shout out, I know you gave your takeaway, but in my 30 seconds or less, just kudos to the pitching staff, the starting pitching staff between Shane Baz and Ryan Pepio and Zach Littell and Taj Bradley. They all did their thing, so to speak, kept the Rays in the game and then some. And hopefully this continues. I know Pepio's been on fire of late. Zach Littell having that complete game. I mean, it's really hard, when you're Taj Bradley and you have absolutely no run support and you're going up against maybe the best starter in the game right now. I mean, Hunter Brown leads the majors in wins and is ranked 5th in ERA. So for him to maintain composure and poise and not back down from the situation, he might have had like 9 strikeouts as well, was really cool to see, as well as some of the others there. So
I think that's a great takeaway because especially, Littell, what a great performance that was, complete game.
Especially after, he gave up a couple jacks to Jeremy Pena and didn't let that, fool him. He still settled in and got it done. I mean, you give up a leadoff homer and then a homer a couple innings later to the same guy. It's like, all right, is this going to be a bandbox game or what? But no, he settled in and got that complete game, the first since Ryan Yarbrough did it in 2021, and just the 3rd by the Rays in the past 10 seasons. I think Zach Littell, the Rays are treating him like a rubber arm, knowing that he's not a highly touted prospect. He's not somebody to massage and take care of and baby. They're just like, yeah, let's let
you want to go
ride. Yes, exactly. So there we go. All right. In the meantime, thank you for listening to the Locked On Rays podcast. For your second listen, check out the all new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. That is where you can get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on the YouTubes or wherever you listen to podcasts. And I got to play the outro. Give me a second, folks.